Tip it off from the hump. Our officials, Kyle Bacon, Tony Patillo, Royce Blevins. And Mississippi State wins the tip in the home maroon. LSU in the road white. And right away, good deflection up top by Williams. Still 15 to shoot. Prater tries a three and knocks it down.
Wow, what a huge shot from Mississippi State on the first possession. Matt, you and I were talking about their three-pointers, how they have been struggling the last 3 games.
You talked about depth for LSU, and they have started 8 different players this year. They lead the nation in bench points. Sam Purcell told us he's been very transparent with his team over the last few weeks about what has to happen. And Kim Mulkey over the years has been known for running fast-paced offenses, high-scoring offenses. I don't think we've seen anything quite like this. Well, that might just be enough no matter what happens at the SEC tournament.
But the way women's basketball has been going, yes, you want to get today, and then you want to get a couple in that SEC tournament, because you just never know who's going to get an at-large bid. Every time they get that defensive rebound, they are going to look to push pace and get out.
Almost picked by Prater the first time, and then a second time. Johnson pass to the corner. Williams buries a three.
Nice ball movement by LSU, and that's just off of a broken play. So you get that deflection, you just want to get it down for Mississippi State.
Favorway Dozie draws a foul. First of the game. They have put together a fantastic resume. A couple of top 25 wins, arguably 3 of the best wins of any team in conference play, but they're riding a 3-game skid, and that is part of why this game is so important. Still have not seen a shot attempt go down for Flau'jae Johnson. And that might have been a walk, and it was. Third, rather second turnover.
Wanting to play more of the guard position, that's what Coach Mulkey had recruited her, but the way that they were just like, we need her on the court. So sometimes you're going to see Johnson, I should say, playing that 4 position. LSU has a lot of different lineups and rotations they can run, whether they want to play small ball or whether they want to play in their bigger lineups.
Good start here for Mississippi State.
And when we talked to Coach Sam Purcell, that was one of the things. He's like, we just got to make open shots and continue to have our confidence. And that was one of the coaching things he wanted to continue to do as they get the defensive run out.
Prater takes it all the way and banks it down. Williams. Deep 2 rattles out, and Wade Dozie there for the rebound. The battle of the glass will be fascinating today against a Mississippi State team who in the non-con was one of the top rebounding teams in the country against LSU, who leads the SEC. Francis! Come on! Falling to the hardwood, banks it down. 9-point lead and a 7-0 run for Mississippi State. Flau'jae. Williams with the offensive rebound. Still plenty of time. 15 to shoot. Step through and a foul drawn by Flau'jae Johnson.
Yes.
We asked her, have you always been a shot blocker? She said no. Actually, not until I started playing volleyball in 8th grade. Translated to the game of basketball. And boy, has she been elite as a freshman in the SEC.
You know, this is exactly the Mississippi State team that you saw win against those top 25 teams.
Prater, tough. Jumper on the baseline won't go. Knocks the rebound. Now they can run. Mikaylah Williams into the game for the first time. Too heavy. Rebound by Joyner. Batted out. And now the Dogs are running. Prater kick out for 3. Boy, that was a great move by Joyner, seeing that King wanted to draw the charge. Fortuitous bounce there to keep it to Crisp. Driving and set back by Knox. It'll stay here with 5 to shoot.
Well, Knox, she was watching our highlights about blocking right here, but just look at again how she anticipates going off when the player goes off of 1 foot, you know, just fires her up. And we know she always brings a lot of spice to the court that Coach Mulkey loves.
Another freshman. in this game. Both teams relying heavily on freshmen this year. Speaking of, Francis on the bunny hook. Williams counted in the foul.
Williams, she's just able to take over anytime she has the ball. And she's really picked up her rebounds, assists, and steals. And now she's scoring when shit's needed the most.
10-second differential between game and shot clock.
There's a mismatch inside. Got to get it to Dozie.
Well, that was really well defended.
Take a deep breath when she gets that ball. She had full Wiley on her, and she's got a 5-inch height advantage on the post.
Williams holding for the final shot of the first quarter.
Actually, one-on-one, break down low.
Off the bounce, Williams getting to her spot and fading away with the right hand. Two tough shots by Williams.
And you know that those losses almost you remember more than the wins coming in.
Particularly because they haven't had that many.
Yes,
during
exactly.
Kim Mulkey's tenure, the second winningest head coach in Division I history by win percentage, trailing only Gino Ariema at UConn. 2-point lead for State. Starting the second quarter, well defended there by Mikaylah Williams.
Mississippi State, I can't tell you enough how great they are doing in their transition defense, making LSU have to pull the ball back, pushing LSU out to that three-point line to slow them down.
Coming off a heartbreaking loss to Texas A&M, a game in which they actually led with 2 minutes left. Sam Purcell told us there's been a renewed focus and intentionality this week preparing for LSU as that's stolen away by Full Wiley. Turnaround, Full Wiley drops it in, and LSU leads for the first time.
You can see that that was a point of emphasis when we talked to both coaching staffs, that the defensive rebounds were going to be so key because that gets them going in their open court.
Jump ball and the arrow pointing to LSU. Sam Purcell told us takes a lot of pride in being undefeated on senior day in his short tenure here in Starkville. 3-0 all-time. Of course, today is senior day, honoring a handful of seniors in the program. Williams, Euro, come on. That was nifty. And a timeout taken by Sam Purcell. Williams coming off her third 20-point performance of league play. That came in a win against Tennessee.
It was hard to believe that was only her third double-double of her career, but the last two games have been a double-double for her. It looks like she's on her path already there in the second quarter.
Crisp, deep three, off the mark. And now Mississippi State, after hitting their first three, has gone 0 for 7 as Full Wiley blows it by on the baseline. Here's Francis, 4 early points, has been quiet since and picked by Full Wiley. Trying to get it past Prater and draws a foul.
There's a lot of basketball still yet to play, and so that her focus and confidence just switched, and now she's scored in double figures.
The SEC women's basketball tournament begins Wednesday morning. SEC Network will have all the first and second round games. Won back-to-back SEC tournament titles while with the South Carolina Gamecocks. Good block there by Full Wiley and wins it back for the Tigers.
Well, you'll see Full Wiley, when she gets beat, she's never out of the play. Look how she stays with it, and it does go off of Destiny McFall's shoulder out of bounds. That's not what you want. The ball has got to touch Madison Francis and Favor Dozie's hand every single time for the Bulldogs, because the defense is going to collapse around them, and that's going to start opening up for the Bulldogs.
Francis and Dozie, their two top scorers, have combined for just 5 points as Williams rattles in another pull-up jumper.
One of the things LSU is doing so well is being ready in help anytime the ball goes on the floor.
Good offensive rebound and the putback by Dozie.
When your top players get the basketball, it makes and forces the defense into rotations.
One of 5 players in the SEC averaging a double-double. Has scored in double figures in 9 out of the last 12 games. She, you would think, would have to have a big game today if Mississippi State wants to compete. Meanwhile, Richard.
Well, we mentioned it about LSU, how they have so much depth, so many weapons that can score. In that Mizzou game, they had 7 players in double figures. They can really hit it up, especially getting Richard going on the outside.
Full Wiley, step back 3. Yes.
And that's too easy. You have to at least have a hand up on Full Wiley. We've said she's been on a heater the last 3 games. She's shooting 56% from the 3-point line. She's hit 9 of them, and because that gets her going when she hits the long one.
Pick 6 for Full Wiley, and another timeout taken by Mississippi State. It's one of the deeper teams they've had in Kim Mulkey's short tenure in Baton Rouge. There's a lot of newness as well for this Tigers team.
And the way that they've built their chemistry on and off the court, and I feel like it's gotten even better throughout SEC play. Everyone understanding their roles and how to find the extra player.
Flau'jae Johnson, no. Koval fighting for it. Williams came away with it. Turnaround short. And off and running comes Richardson. Into the post, spin cycle, and draws a foul. Playing the best basketball of her career in her final season in the SEC. Of course, began at Auburn, spent 2 years at Ole Miss. Now they mix it up defensively, going to a zone here. Full Wiley, pitch back Williams, 5 to go. No look pass to the corner. Joyner, rebound to Johnson. Steps it through the defense, knife into the cup for 2. Richard head up in transition, pops and drops.
We were talking about the turnovers, and that's what it looks like. If you don't have the play, it's not worth forcing it against LSU. They are too talented and way too fast in the open court to have live ball turnovers. Breaking ankles down at the top of the key. Let's see if they do it again.
She was successful to close out the first quarter. Here she is with 5 to go in the first half. Step back jumper, no. Wade Dozie clears the board to end the first half. They scored 14 points off 11 Mississippi State turnovers. A lot of those came in the second 10 minutes.
Yes, what they did was stop and then score. And you know that LSU loves to get out and play in transition. We got to break this down. So great defense by LSU. Their hands were so fast there in that second quarter.
Mississippi State led by as many as 9 in the first quarter. LSU's defense, you said, was ratcheted up. That changed the dynamic of this game. How does Mississippi State get into their offense here?
Well, I like that first play because it's going inside. And that Ole Miss game when they were down over 10 points with 6 minutes left to go and then held Ole Miss to no field goals. So that's what it looks like when LSU turns it on defensively.
Good second effort there by Francis, draws a foul. 3-hour best of this week's SEC Indoor Track and Field Championships. A lot of pre-Olympic 2028 summer games.
We'll talk about superstar track athletes. Man, we got to hear about your careers. When we were in practice, she was one of the first people who got a couple layups in before they actually started practicing. So you know she's still got it.
And a foul underneath against Richardson. One of 3 freshman players getting significant minutes. And 8 new players. They returned just 2 starters from last year. And it's among the most newness that she can remember having in any one year as a head coach, either at LSU or Baylor before that.
Yes, and they were very concerned in the offseason leading into this. Like, how is the team going to bond? How are they all going to get along? Because they're all star players for LSU, and how are they going to build that camaraderie? We're seeing the end results of that, too, of their great SEC play.
Speaking of stars, Flau'jae Johnson.
Prater with the hard closeout. Looks like she got a little bit of the ball, but her momentum carried her in the body-wise for that foul.
State off and running. Richardson on the bounce pass. Counted and the foul. Here come the Bulldogs.
Well, you're hearing the Bulldog fans. They are loving this. I love Richardson. Look at her getting out on the fast break, and she doesn't hold back. Finishing with the and one, but look at the excitement, that joy that Coach Sam Purcell always talks about. That got everyone on the bench and here in Humphrey Coliseum on their feet.
5 quick points to start the second half. Lajay Johnson back into the game. Just the 4 points on 1 of 6 for Wiley. No rebound. Richardson in a tie-up, and the arrow points to LSU. Might have an argument there too. Long defensive set here for Mississippi State, and Williams makes them pay. A game-high 14.
That all started with a great screen by Joyner to get Williams open.
Fane, first minutes of the game. Dribble pull-up. Yes. Johnson floats it in. Good defense there. Triple team on Mama Joyner. Francis, push shot and the foul. Yes, sir.
Well, she just did it again. Going to her right and finishing with the and one. And look at Favorway Dozy with the celebration. Huge.
Kim Mulkey felt like it was a basketball play. The officials felt otherwise.
And we were watching Francis and then the excitement from Mississippi State. And yes, that did look like her continued movement there from Joyner was unnecessary. Pushed Francis out of bounds. But this is a huge momentum shift, can be right now for the Bulldogs.
They will get 2 shots from Crisp plus the ball. Crisp has missed just 6 free throws in SEC play. And remember, this all started with an and one by Maddie Francis. So really, the opportunity almost to be a 3-possession swing.
Confidence of trying to close that gap against LSU. Now it's all about execution for Mississippi State.
Already 5 points on this trip down the floor for Mississippi State. And they will draw a foul. Puts Mississippi State into the bonus. So to the line goes Richardson.
And that's a lot of time left in this quarter to be in the bonus. So if I were a coach, if I were Sam Purcell, I would be getting the ball into the paint and trying to take it at LSU.
Richard back the other way. Here's the track meet that favors LSU typically. And a foul on Knox.
As Wadozy goes to the free throw line.
3 ranked wins already in SEC play for Mississippi State. Georgia, Kentucky, Tennessee. According to Charlie Crean, they sat last 4 in.
There's still a lot of basketball left to be played. Games, upsets, conference tournaments. But Mississippi State, you only have to worry about the 40 minutes that are in front of you, and that's here right now against LSU.
First lead for State since early in the second quarter. Here's Francis. Sent back by Full Wiley. Great recovery and transition by the national champ from South Carolina.
She was worried about who was in front, but you always got to worry about who's behind. And Full Wiley, one of the best defenders in the SEC. She leads the SEC in stocks. That's steals and blocks. Gets it done defensively.
Has a pair of each in today's game. Here's Prater left open on the baseline and pays it off. Williams spins, yes, plus the foul. Putting the team on her back, has 16 points. Talked a lot about Full Wiley during this 3-game win streak. Williams now has her 3rd consecutive double-double and ties it at 41.
but contributing in so many different ways. The production is huge off the rebounds, steals, assists. Just being that all-around player for LSU.
Floated into the paint. Francis could not finish. Wanted a foul, won't get it. Full Wiley through contact. Blazing to the basket. And LSU leads again. Dozie, kick to the corner. Still just the lone three, which started the game for the Bulldogs, and there's a foul on Full Wiley, her third. State trailed by 13 at the half. Second quarter went all in the direction of the Tigers. As Crisp makes it a one-point game.
And Mississippi State, this possession coming down in a 2-3 zone, trying to mix it up. And that's causing LSU to have to stop and regroup on the offensive side.
Richard knocks down a three. Just the fourth of the game for LSU. Richardson's had an excellent day. Will go to the bench for a breather. 11 points for the senior. Williams gets a
Williams' bread and butter has been taking it off the dribble and getting to the paint and either hitting her mid-range game, which she is known for. The play before, she broke down that zone, getting it into the lane and then kicking it out for a three.
19 points for Williams. Open three. Prater knocks it down. Williams kick out Richard. Prater rebound. Wants to push. McFall open. Probing. Almost picked by Johnson. Footwork is something to behold. Richard, so crafty with the ball, now has 10 points to go along with 3 boards.
And the LSU bigs need some hockey assists out here because they are setting all these screens to get the guards open.
Right place, right time for Dozie.
I gotta love that. That looked like a turnover waiting to happen for the Bulldogs, but ball's up in the air. So let's see what LSU does again on this side, because what they've been doing is two-man pick-and-roll action, and it's just been working play after play here for the Tigers.
55 seconds to go in the third quarter. Zip pass inside Koval. Prater with 10. Off the bounce, was rejected by Koval. It'll stay here with 6 to shoot.
Really trying to block those shots in the paint and own the paint against Mississippi State.
Into Francis. Over Joyner, no. Williams with plenty of time. Shot clock turned off, and she will slowly bring the ball up the floor.
Here's that 1-4 low for Williams again.
Defended by Francis, falls. Francis trying to tie it up, and she does.
What hustle by Francis. She was on that.
McFall just checked back in. She will get it. Well defended, Richard. Wow, a whistle before the horn. That was thrown up like a prayer. Foul was called before the red light went off on the backboard. And it clearly did. You wonder how long Sam Purcell will keep her on the bench to start the fourth quarter.
And she's done a lot with her leadership as a senior out here and defensively. So I'm going to guess he's going to get her back in here quickly in the fourth quarter.
Richard has been among the best free throw shooters since conference play began.
Against a great team like LSU, you don't want to throw the ball under their basket where they can steal and catch it. he's always talking to his team about. And if you follow him on Instagram, he has over 15,000 posts with quotes from great leaders, great sports, and just, you know, the overall inspiration that he brings to this program.
Williams, Koval, good defense by Mississippi State. He joked with us the reason he goes with Kobe quotes so much is because his players would rather hear something from Kobe than from him.
Yeah, if he's like, if I need something said, I'll just make sure it's from somebody to listen to.
Williams, a chance at the and one. Her fourth 20-point performance of SEC play. But I don't think the end of the third quarter and the influence of that on this game can be overstated. It was a 5-point game and Mississippi State had the ball, and then a turnover and a foul was called, and LSU went up 7 and now up 9 with under 9.5 to go.
It's just how quick these possessions can change and dictate in the middle of the game. Coaches always mention that. Then you look back on film and realize, yes.
Good flash by Dozie. Left it short. Better defense by Koval, who was excellent in the ACC last year for Notre Dame. Wiley hit another gear. 14 for Wiley, and a timeout taken by Mississippi State. Trying to mount another comeback. They trailed by 13 at the start of the half. Briefly took the lead in the third quarter. And now LSU by 58-47, 8:45 to go, and a bank shot off the timeout.
It was textbook of how to run a backdoor play by the Bulldogs.
It looked like Williams might have traveled. Joyner rolls down the and one. Took a bit of a different role this year.
And she had a lot of success at East Carolina. And last game only played 8 minutes against Tennessee. But you see when they go to the bigger lineup, her and Koval in the center really make a difference. And here's Big right coming at you. We talked about blocking. Man, we had a lot of blocks going on today.
Richardson pops, rims it down, having an excellent senior day, 12 points, and her buckets have often come in critical moments. Williams, good feed, extra pass, Koval.
And Mississippi State was trying to apply some pressure, some like three-quarter court pressure, but when the ball gets to Mikaylah Williams and they can run that high-low action between Koval and Joyner, it just looks so easy for LSU.
Mississippi State 2 for 18 from beyond the arc this afternoon. Shooting just 30% from the floor. Wiley doubled. Trying to get past Richardson. Spins. Almost stolen by Francis. Still 5 to shoot. Williams at 3. Yes! 24 to go along with 12 rebounds. King. Extra pass, Richardson, corner 3, got it.
Oh.
Needed it. Williams rejected by Francis. Stay here with 10 to shoot.
It's her length of how she's able to read and cover multiple players on the defensive end for Mississippi State is huge.
Wiley with a no-look bounce pass to Joyner. Five minutes to go. 14-point deficit for the Bulldogs. Francis 3. Now they have a pair during this stretch. Williams, Joyner, Koval stripped. Dozie draws a foul.
This had a nice little sauce and butter right to it. You got to love that. And when you watch LSU and you listen to Coach Mulkey in the press conferences, how many times she uses the word speed when she's talking about Mikaylah Williams, because that's how fast and quick she is.
Favor Dozie at the line for 2 shots.
Let's see it here. Looks pretty straight up, but might have gotten her on the wrist. That call could have gone either way for sure.
Feels like a lot of them.
A lot of them. Exactly.
Dozie 1 for 2 now in double figures in 10 of her last 13. And full Wiley just took over that possession.
Now that is the speed we were just talking about. How fast she is with the basketball in the open court.
Richardson, tough step back on the baseline. Ten-point game, 3:50 to go. Full Wiley draws a foul. With 10 points, 5 boards. He's hit 2 big threes in the game. Full Wiley at the line and a rare miss. Missed them both. Ball on the deck. Joyner wins it back. Koval with a clear lane to the basket. There was a whistle, and Mulkey called timeout.
And that's really what the leadership is all about. And talking to Coach Bob Starkey yesterday, he would say she's always watching film. There's no one that watches more film than Mikaylah Williams. And it shows up because you know exactly what the scout is and where your teammates work best. And there she is.
Williams.
Yeah, there she is off that screen. You've got to be able to step up.
LSU already locked into a double bye for the SEC tournament, which begins Wednesday. State will play on Wednesday. This game huge, however, for their NCAA tournament resume. Currently last 4 in, according to Charlie Cream. King, pull up, good. Timeout, Sam Purcell. Full Wiley, long pass out to Williams. Now resetting. 5 to shoot. Williams almost walked. Koval tried to thread it inside Joyner, and a shot clock violation.
Probably what they needed earlier, but now it's all about against the clock. They got to get something going downhill quickly here against the time.
Does get downhill and draws a foul, stopping the clock. Do you start playing the foul game defensively if you're State at this point?
If I was Coach Sam Purcell and the Mississippi State team, I would be all the way up, full court press.
Rare miss from Crisp. Was 40 of 46 in league play entering the day. 9-point game, no timeouts for State, just the 3 fouls. 2 more puts LSU in the bonus.
There you go.
Picked off by Crisp. King steps into a 3. Boy, they've had good looks all afternoon, but they've shot less than 20% from beyond the arc.
That was the steal that they were hoping for in that press.
Right now, lots of time coming off the clock here. Still no foul from Francis, trying to get a steal. 10 to shoot. 5 to shoot for Richard. Floats it in Koval. Put back no from Joyner. And last touch by King.
When you're not fouling or going for steals in the passing lane every single time.
A hard-fought battle by Mississippi State, who will come up short on Senior Day.
Well, hard fought. You even love to see Francis on the floor at the end there, but great competitive game across the board, and Mississippi State with a whole lot of effort, but LSU with so many weapons to be able to hold on to this one.
Tigers have won 4 in a row and will take the 4th seed into the SEC tournament, which begins Wednesday. For Mississippi State, that tournament takes on all new meaning.